What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Champion reworks and updates have always served to update kits with major issues in them, or to bring new life to a champion, and throughout the years, there's been loads that have taken place. And as we go through the top 10 champion reworks and updates in League of Legends history, we'll be measuring them by how the rework improved the champion's kit, and how good the gameplay update was for them. Anyways, let's get started. At number 10, we have the quite recent Ashe update from patch 5.9. This rework is quite recent, but it did a really good job of giving her some nice tools with increased utility and helping her early laning phase out by a decent amount. The new Ashe has risen as a top tier AD carry pick, and her new kit has a lot of really powerful tools in it. The rework helped a lot of her weaknesses, mainly her early laning and her mana issues, while also not hurting her kit in any real way, so overall she became stronger and a lot more fun to play. At number 9, it's the Sivir update from patch 3.13. Similar to the Ashe update, it wasn't a complete overhaul of her kit, but it gave her a ton of utility and did a really nice job of helping her with her weaknesses. Before this rework, she had a lot of problems with mana and laning, but after the update she became a fairly lane dominant champion that didn't really have mana issues anymore, and had a lot more updated features as well, such as not having a cast time on her ultimate, as well as some other quality of life buffs. The overhaul gave her kit a lot more fluidity, and it was exactly what she needed to rise as a top tier AD carry pick ever since. At number 8, we have the Heimerdinger rework from the same patch, patch 3.13. Before this, Heimerdinger was considered, for the most part, to be a troll pick pretty much, and suffered from loads of issues throughout his kit as a whole, mainly having too much dependence on his turrets overall, causing him to be very immobile. The rework gave him burst, more damage, and a lot more utility in his ultimate, and less dependence on his turrets to win fights. Since the rework, he's risen as a fairly powerful solo queue champion that can make good use of zoning by having high range poke and some awesome crowd control too. At number 7, it's the Season 1 Rise update from patch 1.0.0.111. Although the more recent Rise rework has proved to be somewhat of a disappointment, it's not the first champion update he's received. Way back in Season 1, Rise was an AP scaling mage with long cooldowns and average damages, but this update gave him much shorter cooldowns and a spammable kit, as well as mana scaling on his abilities, which allowed him to build tanky and still have tons of damage, and turned him into a powerhouse mage that was a top tier pick for a long time, until he was nerfed repeatedly. And at number 6, we have the Victor update from patch 4.17. This is another update that is quite recent, and just like the Ashe update, it gave Victor exactly what he needed to become a fairly strong champion. Now, Victor's update didn't actually impact his kit too heavily, but the changes to his damaging spells and passive gave him a lot more consistent power, while keeping the strengths of his kit intact. Since then, he's become a fairly popular pick in competitive play, with the utility and area of effect damage that he brings to a team. And then at number 5, we have the Xerath rework from patch 4.2. With a focus on keeping his high range poke style, this rework did a great job of helping his previous problem of having to be completely immobile when casting spells. Although Xerath was okay before this rework, the improved poke and more reliable crowd control, as well as the awesome finisher of his new ultimate, made Xerath a cool and strong champion, and he's been the prime poke mid laner ever since. Next up at number 4, we have the Karma rework from patch 3.05. Before this rework, similar to Heimerdinger, Karma was considered a fairly troll pick, but with a complete overhaul of her kit with the focus of being a high utility mid-game mage, Karma became quite a decent champion. Before, it wasn't so much that her kit had a few problems, but rather that the problem was her kit as a whole being extremely weak. She was given crowd control and a lot of utility and damage in her kit as a whole with the rework, which was a big improvement over her previously lackluster kit, and overall has had quite some success since as a champion. Next up at number 3, we have the Katarina rework from patch 1.0.0.145. Before this rework, Katarina was considered to be a fairly bad champion and had never really seen the competitive spotlight. but after the overhaul to her W and improved damages in her kit while still keeping her strengths intact, the Katarina rework made her into a monster of a champion that dominated the meta with a variety of builds for multiple seasons. Before, she suffered a lot since her weaknesses were too easily exploited, but now her new kit proved to be quite strong and made her an awesome champion. Next up at number 2, we have the Sion rework from patch 4.18. Another fairly recent rework, the Sion overhaul actually made him into a monster of a champion. Before, Sion had a terrible time finding a role to fit into a team due to a weak kit and awkward scaling with his abilities. But with the focus on making him a high utility tank, Sion became pretty much the best top laner in the game for quite some time until he received multiple nerfs after. His kit became fluid and super fun to use, and he felt a lot like a strong tank force in the game. The rework gave his gameplay purpose, and that's what really made his rework shine amongst the others. And at number 1, we have the Evelynn rework from patch 1.0.143. Before this rework, Evelynn was arguably the weakest champion the game has ever seen. She had no utility, no damage, and no tankiness, and really nothing going for her after she received what was arguably the biggest nerf of all time about a year before this rework. However, with the update, she became a crazy powerful mage that was one of the most dominant picks for a long time, and still remains in the meta to this day as a powerful champion. They kept her stealth element, which was her only strength, and gave her great scaling, tons of damage, and a strong assassination mage playstyle. Riot took one of the weakest champions ever and turned her into an awesome powerhouse of a champion that was super fun to play, and has allowed her to be very successful for a long time.
Hey guys, it's me, Jeremy. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, definitely make sure to hit that like button so I can tell, as well as you can check me out on Facebook and Twitter at Gaming Curios. And check me out on Twitch too, I do weekly streams. And if you really enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, as well as you can check out some of my other content up above. Anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.